wealthier women in commercial real estate to give to humanity without limits. Welcome to Ladies Night with Stephanie. So I'm very excited to bring to you today Jackie Landry. She is the co-partner of Moreland Capital, which is real estate syndication and asset management. And she is also a co-author in this wonderful book, Real Women in Real Estate. So welcome, Jackie.
Thanks, Steph. Thanks for having me and allowing me to join your wonderful podcast. I really appreciate it.
Of course, you're welcome anytime. I know you to say a little bit about your story right here in this book. And your topic today is Dream Big. What would you like to share with us regarding your story?
So I'd really like to take you through the journey that I went through. So almost exactly what's in the book, but get into a little more detail about it and then talk about that, how that's even morphed into something more defined and a lot clearer to me. So I'm going to start with my husband and I's decision to open a gelato franchise in Dallas, Texas. So I quit my corporate job and I decided that I was going to be an entrepreneur for financial freedom, for more flexibility to do what I want to do and to build wealth. And so I was under the impression that by opening a gelato or Italian ice cream franchise would be the key to getting me there. So it was truly amazing. So let's fast forward 4 years, right? We lost tons and tons of money, over $1 million. We decided that we were going to plan to shut the gelato franchise down. And we planned for about 8 months and cut ties and then said, oh my God, so now what are we going to do? And oh, by the way, it's COVID. And oh, by the way, I have a 5-year-old that's being schooled inside of my living room where I work. And so I was like, how the hell are we going to get through this? And we're going to have attorneys knocking on our door any minute now, from breaking the franchise agreement as well as breaking the lease. So I said, oh my gosh, how are we going to do this? I'm exhausted. I'm lost. I'm stressed. It's COVID. I can't talk to anybody. I can't go out anywhere. So we were like, hey, we're going to fight through this. And my husband's, hey, look, don't worry. We have assets in Pittsburgh. So what we decided to do, my husband owned over 50 properties in Pittsburgh, single family homes, where he rented them out to affordable housing recipients. And he said, I think we need to liquidate most of these properties because we're going to be faced with $1 million plus of losses with these attorney fees. So we started liquidating our properties, selling them, telling people we're going to leave, selling them off to other folks. And we really did that to just not incur any additional losses from the franchise. So luckily we got out fairly unscathed. So we were in at about 100K in, and I say fairly scathed because it was 100K of attorney fees. And then we were able to settle outside of arbitration with the arbitrator. So we were blessed by doing that, and also blessed that we shut the business down right before COVID. So that was a blessing. But then we said, hey, what are we going to do? We decided to pick up our bags, as well as my mom. So my husband and I, and my son was 6 or 7 at the time. And I said, let's get out of here. And maybe it's a good idea that we move to Pittsburgh and let's rebuild your portfolio. So he said, I don't know if I really like Pittsburgh. I don't know if it's my cup of tea. Maybe we should go to Florida. But at the end of the day, we decided to move an area right next to where Mark Cuban grew up. So he grew up in Mount Lebanon, and we live in Upper St. Clair. So we decided to make the move, and it was a great move. We love it here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And so the minute we moved here, my husband got an email from some guy, Brad Sumrock. And he goes, hey man, this sounds pretty interesting. Maybe I should go to this conference. And it was my husband's introduction to multifamily and how you can build wealth a lot faster than buying, flipping, renting single family homes. So he came home from the conference, if you can imagine, all pumped up, ready to go. So I'm like, okay, I'm in. My husband's a smart guy. I'm sure he's not going to lead the family in the wrong direction. So we started investing in, we were limited partners in some deals in the Brad Sumrock's mastermind group. So we started investing in some of those deals to get our feet wet as to what to expect, what the terminology is, building relationships with folks. And after we did that, a few months in, my husband approaches me and says, hey, can you leave your job? Because if we're going to do this multifamily thing the right way, we need to spend time and effort on it and give it our 100% so that we ensure that we're going to reach our financial freedom number and build that generational wealth for our son. So I threw up my hands, as you can imagine, and said, you want me to quit tomorrow? But it took me a few months to make the transition because I didn't want to leave my job as a senior customer success manager for a software company. I just didn't want to leave them up and dry. So I said, okay, I'm going to quit. And then he said, okay, great. We're going to go to this mastermind event and it's going to be a little bit of camping and a little bit of hotel. And I was like, okay, we can just go to the hotel. We could skip the camping part. But the camping part was super interesting because it was a collaboration with Brad Sumrock and Jesse Itzler. And so we got to hang out with a billionaire and Brad Sumrock. And in the whole camping trip was around mindset. Get your mindset right. So within 15 minutes or so, getting to the campsite. And by the way, I'm not talking glamping. There was tents on the ground with sleeping bags. And so we were there and some doctor gave us a talk about the benefits of cold and hot and how athletes sit in ice baths and they do saunas and the whole reasoning and how they're great for you. And they said, okay, do we have any questions? Everybody report back to their tent, put on your bathing suit. We're going to do an ice plunge today. And I went, excuse me, say it again. So I go, oh my gosh, I got to put on my bathing suit. I better have a beach cover up. We went back, we changed. And then all of a sudden we're walking towards the ice bath. I see everybody in lines and I see all these people doing it. And I'm like, wow, they're like pros. They must have had the right mindset to be able to do this, or maybe they did it before. So I still wasn't sure. So my husband and I walk up and I said, hey, I think there's an ice bath over there that's free. And he goes, well, let's go check. So I said, maybe we should wait because maybe the ice will melt a little bit so that it will be warmer when we get it. So it wasn't the case. They kept replenishing the ice after everybody got out. So we get over to the ice bath and she goes, the coach said, who's, and I was like, all right, look, I'm not even going to think about this anymore. I'm just going to do it. And so sometimes in life, in real estate, you just have to do it. You just have to take that plunge, that first step, whatever it is. So I got in the ice bath. It actually shocks your body and it starts to attack your organs. So what they do is they tell you to form a little circle around your body with your arms to encapsulate the heat that's in your body to protect your organs. So I get in the ice bath and they were teaching us how to breathe. So I was there with a coach. Another very important thing to have is the coach was actually saying, okay, let's do what we said, breathe in, breathe out. And it was really hard. Even though I knew what to do, it was super hard to breathe. So finally I said, okay, we need to form the little circle. And within 30 seconds of this ice bath, I was good. I did 3 minutes like a pro. I got out and I'm like, that was amazing. So I think from that point on, that ice bath changed my mindset. And it was like, if all of these 150 people that are here at this mastermind can do it, why can't I? I don't have any disabilities. I don't have any shortcomings. So why can't I do this? And some of these people, most of the people that I was with are at least 2-digit millionaires. That kind of changed my mindset. We did other things throughout the camping trip, walk 2 miles, and I'll tell you, first and foremost, I am not the most fit person. I'm trying to work on that personally. I walked for 2 hours in uneven terrain, and I don't care who stopped. I did not stop. I had blisters on my feet, all this kind of stuff, but I made it. And then I zip lined and I did all this other stuff. And I just watched the group of people around me cheering me on. Go, Jackie, go, Melvin. And I said, wow. And I didn't want to let these folks down, but that's lesson 3 here, right? Surround yourself around people that support you, that are better than you, and you can learn from. So think about that support system that said, Jackie, don't give up. Melvin, don't give up. We didn't. Why? Because we had such a great support system that believed that we can do it. So just a little extra push to help you eliminate those negative thoughts that we all have. So I just mentioned that because I think that was just eye-opening for me about, number one, you are like the 5 people that you most hang around. So be diligent and spend your time wisely. So from that point on, I was changed. I came back to Pittsburgh and we were hosting a party and I just couldn't stop talking about it. They said, Jackie, what the hell is wrong with you? I really think that was my pivotal point to just changing my mindset. I work on that.
Before you even started this, right? What was the dream at this point in your journey? What is in your head right now? What is your dream at this stage in your life?
I don't know if it was that formulated in my mind. So people always go, oh, you have to have a goal. Oh, it needs to be clear. Oh, you need to write it down. Oh, you need to do all that. I don't think it was that formed. So I knew of this thing called financial freedom, but what does it mean? And I think it means something different, right? See Shirley on the phone, Miguel, what does that mean? What's that number? Or maybe it's not a number as to how much money you make on a monthly basis or on a yearly basis, but maybe it's spending more time with your family or your parents that are getting older and their time is running out, right? I don't know that I knew what that actually meant, but I knew I wanted it because I saw how happy these people were in this mastermind where they had the ability to do what they want, when they wanted, how they wanted, and seeing them on social media taking nicer vacations and doing things like that. I'm like, I want that too. I don't think that was that crystal clear to me 18 months ago, but I knew I wanted something better. And I knew that working 40 hours a week at a software company, 50, 60 hours a week, having the phone at my hip for any customer that called wasn't going to bring me to that dream. So we started investing. We were like investors on crack. So we invested in 11 deals in 12 months. So we invested anywhere from $25K to $100,000 in each one of these deals. And 2 of those deals, we were actually general partners. So we were super blessed to be GPs on 2 buildings in San Antonio. It's so crazy that we were able to accomplish that. But you may say, but my husband and I have all this money just sitting around in a bank account. Absolutely not. But I will tell you something. So my background is in accounting and consulting. My husband's a professor and supply chain. So we had a very healthy 401k that was making 2%, 3%. So we pulled that stuff out faster than you can blink an eye. And we started putting it in great investments in multifamily buildings. And we said, do we really know these people? Has it been enough time? Is 6 months enough time to really get to know who Steph is? If I give you 50,000 or 100,000, I don't know. How long does it take to know Steph? Is it 1, 2 times? Is it a gut feeling? Is it a year, 2 years? I don't know. But we decided to take a leap of faith and put our money with a lot of the folks in our mastermind group. And my husband always has a very different outlook on things. And as you all know, when you invest in multifamily, you have this thing called bonus depreciation. So in 2022, there was 100% bonus depreciation. And we invested 100K in this one deal. And we got a K1, which is that document that reduces your taxable income, for a minus 82,000. All right, so think about that for a minute. So let's just say I made $100,000. And if I did my taxes, I have to pay taxes on $100,000, right? Now I have to pay taxes on $20,000 because I reduced my taxable income. So my husband said to me, what if we put our money with the wrong people? And he's, honey, I don't care because I already got my benefit. I already got $82,000 benefit. So if this investment ends up giving me my money back and a little bit more, we're winning. But eliminate some of the fear that a lot of people have on investing in multifamily. What if I lose my money? Or what if I don't make 2x my money or 3x my money? If you're looking at it from different perspectives, it really just helps reduce the level of stress that a new investor has in doing something that's totally outside of their norm. Let's fast forward a little bit. So we decided that we needed to get out in the community and we needed to do a podcast. So like you, Steph, we decided to do a podcast, although it's not live. We record it in advance and then publish it. So the name of our podcast is called Get Diversified. We believe in diversity, but the other thing that fits in so nicely with that name, Get Diversified, is we believe in diversifying our assets. So up to this point, we've talked about, all right, so we're involved in 11 multifamily deals. Where the heck is the diversification? We're coming to that. So we knew that 2023 was going to be a little bit of a difficult year for multifamily. And when I say difficult, interest rates getting higher, those kind of things. So we decided to diversify into other asset classes. So as we all know, stocks and bonds are classes, multifamily is a class. We have self-storage, mobile home parks, triple net, debt funds, all kinds of stuff. So we decided to put our money in a triple net. So we were able to get in on a half of a share because that's all the cash that we had to put in on it. The minute we wired the money, we immediately got, I think, 2 months of cash flow backdated the minute we sent the wire. So this year was cash flow year for us. And I think it's important for you to always monitor where you are as an investor. Do you need cash flow? Do you not need cash flow? Are you good where you are? So we decided we're not going to abandon the multifamily space, but we think it's important to build cash flow and build a solid cash flow. So not $200 a month, not $200-300 a quarter, because multifamily can provide it, but you can't count on it because if a property is not doing good, they're not going to pay cash distributions. So we said we need to start rebuilding our portfolio here in Pittsburgh and we need to buy and hold. So we don't want to buy single family because that's too much work. I got to deal with 50 single families. So we're buying smaller multifamilies here in Pittsburgh. And you may say, how are you doing that? There's this thing called hard money. And basically what it means is you're paying on higher interest rate for a short amount of time. And these hard money lenders are giving us 80 to 100% of the purchase price. All right, hold on, plus 100% of the renovation cost. So what does Jackie and Melvin need to bring to the table? The closing fees, $10,000-15,000. And then we just purchased a 4-unit a few weeks back. That's going to bring us in, once we stabilize it, we'll probably bring in about $1,700 a month in cash flow. So all these apartment buildings that we're buying here locally in Pittsburgh, we're doing affordable housing. We want to help those folks that can't afford $1,600, $1,700, $1,800, $1,900. And you may say, oh my gosh, but Section 8 people aren't good people. My husband had 5 or 6 pretty bad stories that he told me, but that was out of hundreds. So we truly believe that if you give affordable housing folks a good place to live, a nice place to live, and you're a landlord that cares, those tenants are going to be with you forever. And what does that mean? Less turn. So that means I don't have to continue to rent the place once a year and change the carpet out and repaint and so on and so forth. So we're getting ready. We're stabilizing right now as we speak. We're stabilizing this 4-unit that we have. We are going to close on a 7-unit in the next 2 weeks.
It's a good deal.
And from a tax perspective, you may say, okay, you're getting rental income in. You're going to have to pay taxes on that. No, because if I'm taking that rental income and I'm putting it into multifamily, Jackie and Melvin have no taxes. I'm not paying taxes on that rental income. So our goal in Pittsburgh, and another thing that we're doing to diversify and work on cash flow this year, is in the next 12 months, we want to be over 50 units in our neighborhood and give at least 50 people ability to have affordable housing and live in a nice place with a landlord that cares and actually takes care of things when they break. So that is what we're working on now. I think ultimately our financial freedom number from rentals here in our neighborhood is probably 45 to 50,000 a month. That's a nice number. I don't know, will that change? I don't know. Can you live off $2,000 a month? My mom is retired and lives off Social Security and her pension. She can live off that money. Another light bulb that went on is we belong to a lot of masterminds. Again, we want to surround ourselves around people that matter. So I'm part of the Real Women in Real Estate, Volume 1. I'm going to be involved in Volume 2. We're speaking at different engagements. I was just at a conference this morning where we may have the opportunity to speak in Pittsburgh or somewhere in Pennsylvania region. So really working on getting on other stages to promote what we do. But somebody said something to me a few days ago. So they bought a hotel in probably a D class area. So they decided to buy this hotel, convert it into multifamily. And so they beautified this hotel, but realized that the house on the side of them, on both sides of them, were super ugly and run down. So what did they decide to do? They decided to paint and beautify the houses around them. So you may say, why are you going to spend your own money to beautify houses around you? So what did that do? Number one, it started to change people's perception about the neighborhood. Number two, the mayor started to understand, oh, you're doing this. And number three, that opens the floodgates to what? Free money. It's called grant money, where if somebody sees you trying to beautify an opportunity zone, they're going to want to say, hey, Jackie and Melvin are doing things and they're really trying to change things. And that opens the door for free money, not loans, guys. We're talking about free money, right? So we can't come across that personally ourselves, but we'll get to know the people that are responsible for the boroughs here in Pittsburgh that we're investing in so that we can start to build those relationships. And one day we're actually going to get there.
I wanted to ask you, you keep saying opportunity zones, and you do such a wonderful job explaining things. Could you explain opportunity zone?
Sure. So an opportunity zone is usually low income neighborhood. There's lots of blight. So blight means really bad homes, porches falling down, fires that have happened, and people just leave them. So in Pittsburgh, it's called blight. And we love those kind of neighborhoods. And I always laugh at my husband and I say, if it has 3 walls, my husband will say, that's perfect. I'll buy it because I know somebody that can build that 4th wall and make a $30,000-$40,000 profit on a single family flip. So that's something else that we do. So again, the diversification is super big. And you may say, why are we wasting our time on single family? Why? $40,000-$50,000 within 6 to 8 weeks of renovations. Okay, maybe it sits on the market another 6 to 8 weeks. So 3 months. So what? That's a big wad of cash that I can do what? Put it into multifamily.
So you're flipping and then you're investing and flipping and investing. So they go together very well. And the fact that you're going into these neighborhoods where there is blight and you're changing the neighborhood from dilapidated into something usable. And there's some developers that would be like, oh, this is a blighted area and we're going to put a Whole Foods in it and change everything. No, that's not the strategy that you're going with. It's, hey, look, yes, it's falling apart right now, but let's get it into shape so that people who are already trying to live here can continue to live here with a government assistance. With Section 8, you usually get some kind of a voucher and the government pays that rest of the portion. It's guaranteed money and helping the community. And it's just such a wonderful thing to do for the community, but it's also profitable. So it's wonderful.
Think about COVID, guys. How many landlords you think were on pins and needles, wondering if their rent payments were going to come in? I'll tell you, my husband was for about 2 to 3 weeks. And that's when everybody goes, oh my gosh, the world is blowing up. How are we going to get our job done? And so they needed some time to be able to figure out how to get a computer to your home. But after 2, 3 weeks, those checks were still flowing in. We didn't have to worry about, oh boy, am I going to get it? Is there going to be a moratorium where I can't evict this particular tenant for non-payment or whatever have you? So we feel that number one, affordable housing is needed here in our neighborhood. We want to give a nice place to live for those people that can't afford regular rents or need some kind of assistance. Because let's face it, guys, everybody falls upon hard times, right? Something happens, somebody dies. And I'm one to not look down on those on folks that needs assistance, because we've all been there at some point. So another thing that we do, which the users may be interested in, so keep an open mind. So have you heard of this thing called owner finance? Or let's put it a different way. So you have somebody comes to my husband and says, hey, I want to buy this house off you. And my husband's, okay, it's $50,000. I don't have 5% of $50,000 to give you. So my husband acts as the bank and says, you give me $3,000 up front. I pay for the first year, major repairs. You continue to pay rent for the next 10 years, and you then will own the property. Wow. So not only are we helping folks that need assistance for some reason or another, but we're helping those people also become first-time homeowners if they're interested in doing that. So I love that piece, because how many people just don't know how or haven't been given the opportunity to own a home. So we do that as well. So I think the whole thing is be flexible. Think about what it is that you need today. And it's okay to pivot a little bit. Like I said, our focus this year is a little bit more on cash flow, but still remembering the big prize at the end of 3 to 5 years in multifamily or self-storage. So not losing sight of that too, because that really is a way to build wealth and keep it for generations.
Yes, I don't think I could say anything to top what you said or even close it any better than what you already said. So with that, how can we contact you if we're interested in supporting your community in Pittsburgh, or we want to work with you? What's the best way to reach out?
Sure. Our podcast is called Get Diversified. So you can find that pretty easily. My husband is Black with a bald head. You can't miss him. His head's super big. I always laugh at him. So you can find we're on iTunes and Apple Podcasts and Spotify. You also can find us on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook. More Land Capital.
All right, great. Thank you so much, Jackie, for coming on board. And I love how you're doing investing and just making your community a better place, and you're benefiting in the process. So everyone's winning. Thanks for watching Ladies Night with me, Steph Dablowski. I create wealthier women by providing exclusive access to private equity commercial real estate investments. If you're interested, check out my contact details in the description below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.